All right, let's talk about practice. Today, we're going to completely transform how you think about it. We're diving deep into the science of actually getting good at something, moving beyond just putting in the hours and into the world of true mastery. You know that feeling, right? We've all been there. Maybe you're practicing that same guitar chord, or that tennis serve, or trying to wrap your head around a math problem, and you just hit a wall. It's that super frustrating feeling of being stuck, or it feels like no matter how much harder you try, you just don't get any better.
Well, what if I told you the problem isn't you? It's not your effort, it's your method. The great news is there's a much, much better way to do this. It's time to stop the grind and start practicing with a real strategy. It's all about practicing smarter, not just harder.
Okay, so let's really dig into this idea. This quote, man, it hits the nail on the head. See, researchers have figured out that getting good at something isn't about mindless repetition. It's actually a structured process where you learn and shape your skills step by step. And that is exactly what we are going to break down right now.
So let's just bust this myth right now. You've heard practice makes perfect, right? Well, it's more accurate to say that perfect practice makes perfect. And the science behind it gives us a crystal clear roadmap. We're going to explore 8 key strategies, all bundled into 3 distinct phases that literally form a blueprint for mastering any skill you can think of.
So the whole journey kicks off right here in phase 1. This is all about laying a rock-solid foundation. And interestingly, it doesn't start with you doing anything. It starts with you learning from a guide. The very first strategy is called modeling. The easiest way to think about this is the I do stage. I mean, think about it. Before you try a new recipe, what do? You probably watch a video where a chef shows you exactly how it's done, right? That's modeling. It's all about seeing the right way to do it before you even try. And really effective modeling is surprisingly detailed. It's not just watching someone do something. A real expert demonstrates the skill, sure, but they also explain what they're thinking while they do it. That's the think-aloud. They show you what a finished one looks like, and maybe the most helpful part, they point out all the common mistakes so you know exactly what to watch out for. It's the whole shebang.
So, after the expert has shown you the ropes, you're not just thrown into the deep end. Nope. The next step is a totally supportive, collaborative phase. Think of it as the we do stage.
And this is what we do looks like. First, there's guided practice. This just means you start with the super easy version of the skill and then slowly, gradually, you work your way up to the harder stuff. And while that's happening, your guide is doing close monitoring, watching you carefully to catch any little mistakes right away before they turn into bad habits. This whole support system is absolutely crucial. Okay, so you've got that solid foundation. Now you're ready for phase 2. This is where the training wheels start coming off. It's all about building that real independence and confidence in your new skill. Now, this phase has 2 different flavors of practice. You start with what's called frequent structured practice. Basically, you're practicing in a safe, controlled environment where you're set up to succeed. This builds up your core skills and your confidence. But then you graduate to varied practice, where you start using the skill in trickier, more unpredictable situations. That's what builds real-world adaptability. And that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? How do you really know when it's time to leave that comfy, structured practice and dive into a real challenge? I mean, go too soon and you might get discouraged. But if you wait too long, you'll just stagnate. Well, luckily, the research gives us a super clear checklist. You know you're ready for that next level when you can do these 4 things. You can summarize how to do the skill, you can explain when to use it, you can write out all the steps from memory, and of course, you can actually do it all by yourself. Once you can check off those boxes, it's time to find a bigger mountain to climb. Which brings us to our final phase, phase 3, achieving true mastery. This is the goal. This is where the skill stops being something you have to think about and just becomes a part of you. We're talking about fluency. Fluency practice is all about getting those repetitions in, but with a laser focus. You're not just trying to get it right anymore. You're trying to get it right every single time, without even thinking. The goal is to be skillful, accurate, fast, and eventually completely automatic. This chart here shows that progression perfectly. At first, you're just focused on one thing, accuracy. Just get it right. Once you've got that down, you start to add speed. And as you keep practicing for both accuracy and speed, you finally unlock that last level, automaticity. That's when it just becomes second nature. Now, I want to share one of my absolute favorite tools for really cementing this stuff, worked examples. This is basically taking a problem that's already been solved and breaking it down step by step to see the logic. It's like getting a peek inside an expert's brain.
Let's just walk through this simple math problem. Instead of just throwing the problem at you, a worked example shows you everything: the problem, the steps, and crucially, the reason for each step. First, you see the rule. Hey, denominators have to match. Okay. Next, how to do that. Then, that key step of adjusting the top numbers too. And finally, the easy addition at the end. See, by studying this, you're not just learning the answer, you're learning the process.
And the very last piece of this mastery puzzle is super simple, but so effective. You just schedule dedicated practice sessions right before you have to perform. Doesn't matter if it's a test, a big presentation, or a championship game, that focused review makes the skill sharp and sends your confidence through the roof.
So, let's zoom out and put a bow on this. Why is this whole framework so important? Well, because it gives you a clear step-by-step blueprint that takes all the mystery out of learning something new. We've just covered 8, count 'em, 8 specific strategies. And these aren't just a random list of tips. They're a scientifically backed sequence organized into 3 phases that can take you all the way from total beginner to expert.
So, what are the big takeaways here? First, mastery isn't magic. It is a process, and you can follow it. Second, the path is always the same. You start with help, and you move toward doing it on your own. Third, the real key is to always challenge yourself just the right amount as you get better. And finally, remember, this isn't just for schoolwork. This blueprint works for anything: learning a language, a musical instrument, even a sport.
So that leaves us with one final and pretty important question. Now that you have the blueprint, you have the science, you have the strategies, what skill will you master next?